Weigh in at 260-0995, 877-585-0995. All right, with all the shootings we've had going on and what happened on Mother's Day, and we're finding out more about this Vera Institute. We've been talking about them. They're pretrial services people. They're in charge of it here in New Orleans and in other cities across the country. And we're finding that these people, well, they might be putting us all in danger. It might make us all less safe because of what they do. They're basically lobbyists that lobby judges to let these guys out or enroll in one of their services. They advocate for people not to go to jail, and that can be bad. So we thought we would talk to a real live bail bondsman. He owns Steve's Bail Bonds. Except his name is Matt. His name is Matt Dennis, and he's on the Charter Communications Hotline. What, was Matt Bail Bonds? Was that already taken?
No, actually, it was the name of the original owner of that office.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
We left it in his name out of respect.
That's what I figured. All right, you had something very unusual happen to you last week when a woman you didn't know walked up and handed you something. Tell me that story, Matt.
I was given, we have the pretrial release system in New Orleans does ratings on individuals in jail, and that rating is used to determine, as they say, their risk level. The problem with this rating, if you look at their website, they say, that they're real keen on being open and transparent and give information to the public. The problem is you can't get these ratings from them. We've been trying for 6 months to get the rating on the young lady that was accused of killing her 2 kids, and they won't release this stuff. In fact, in our last legislative session, the Vera Institute had got a bill sponsored that would make all of this information confidential to where you can't get it. So I was delivered into my hands the rating of Akeem Scott, showing not only what they rated him at, but how they rate a person. And it's pretty disturbing.
Well, they rated him at 0 to 3 on a scale of 0 to 24. And from what I understand, his brother, who was also part of this deal, rated the same thing, 0 to 3, and he also had a rap sheet.
I don't know how the brother could. I haven't seen the brother's rating, and I don't know how they could rate somebody like him he has a much more extensive criminal history. The problem that we have with our institute is they're essentially turning the defendant into a victim. They talk about people being held pre-trial, unable to take care of their families, unable to go to work, unable to pay the rent. And I'm sorry, but in the world I grew up in, one of the reasons you didn't get in trouble was because, the deterrence factor. They used to have commercials at drunk driving at thousands in legal bills, thousands in fines and fees. I mean, the idea that you could actually spend time in jail was trying to keep you from getting in trouble in the first place. And Vera turns it around and makes the fact that you're stuck in jail because you chose to commit a crime an unfair punishment by me and you. We shouldn't punish people for making bad decisions.
Matt Dennis, owner of Steve's Bail Bonds here in New Orleans on Rush Radio 99.5 WRNO. If it was available to you, Matt, before you, would you look at that information to see if you agree with the bond, or does it matter to you as a bail bondsman? It's like, hey, here's the bond, and you got your part of it, how much you got to put up. Does it make a difference to you?
Well, look, Vera has no responsibility once the person's out. They have no liability, nothing happens to them if a defendant either fails to miss court or causes more trouble. One of the radio programs, I think it was Osterman, a policeman made a comment that I don't believe them when they tell me their name. Look, I don't talk to the defendant. My customer, his mom, his brother, his uncle, his grandma, his girlfriend, that's the people we deal with. We get a risk assessment based on what part of the family, how much of the family comes in. Our whole transaction is between us and a member of the family, not the defendant.
But if that information was ready available, would you look at that before you made a decision?
We get that. We get the very same information. I want to know if he's working. I want to know where he's living. I want to know how long he's been living there. If that information was available from Vera to the public, sure, of course, if I could get a hold of it, it would be something that I could use when it comes to determining, am I able to find this guy if he doesn't come back to court? It's not going to be a decision on whether or not I should get him out, but whether or not I can find him in the end.
All right, Matt, I've got to correct something here. I said the brother was also rated low. The information that I got was about the carjackers of the judge this week. and that one of the 18-year-olds was out on a Vera bond, and they rated him low. So that's what I wanted. He also rated 0 to 3, not the older brother, so I just wanted to make that clear.
Well, you know, Denny, if you actually look at his record, he has a couple of old charges. He's out currently on, he has 3 charges, one from December of 2012 and 2 from this year. Part of the Vera problem is they don't take into account what you're currently being charged with or what your open counts are. They don't even use what you're in jail for as a factor in determining your risk, and that's insanity. No criminal can be accused and arrested, and then you look past what he's in jail for when you're trying to make a character assessment. I don't know how you can do that.
All right, we got a caller, Bill on the North Shore, who is in law enforcement. He has a question for my guest, Matt Dennis, owner of Steve's Bail Bonds. Go ahead.
Good morning, Denny. Good morning, Matt. My question is this. It's my understanding that Vera was instrumental in the reduction of the jail size campaign for New Orleans, from the 3,000 plus to the what's going to be 1,400 beds. Is that because of? Because it sure seems like it's because they have a vested interest in getting more people out on these free Vera bonds or Vera free bonds or whatever it is with these pretrial services programs, so that they can increase their money, because I know they're funded by the federal government and state government through grants and local government.
Matt, you got anything to say about that?
Yeah, well, look, one of the mechanisms that Vera uses, Judge Hanson is the chief magistrate in Orleans Court. He said regardless of the Vera recommendation, he still, as a judge, gets to make the final decision. And that only stays true as long as there's room for deterrence. If the judge has the ability to put a person in jail, once your jail reaches a capacity that you can no longer use it as a deterrent, then you pretty much remove Judge Hanson's authority in the case, or any other judge.
I have a follow-up. I'm sorry, I have a follow-up question I just thought about, too, Mr. Dennison. I know that Susan Guidry and John Wool have a close working relationship because she heads the Criminal Justice Committee in his project with Vera. But do you know if there's any additional relationships that may cause her to really push this program? Because it seems like even after these incidences, she's still very much a proponent of the Vera program.
Thanks for the call, Bill. We appreciate it. Let me let our guest answer that. Matt Dennis, go ahead, Matt.
Well, you know, the interesting thing is Susan Guidry seems to be the main flag bearer for Vera. I'm not sure if her voters understood exactly what Vera was, if they would support this program. I don't know why she has such great support. I know that our mayor attempted to fund them. Wait a minute. You said the mayor attempted to defund them? Yeah, they were asking for nearly $700,000 in the last budget session, and Mayor Mitchell Andrew, I think, saw through that and really did not want that to happen. He offered them a little over $150,000, I think $180,000 for the operating year, and Susan Guidry's force is what put the money back up to $500,000, and they want even more next year. You know, then there's an interesting thing. This comes from the Vera website, and one thing that a lot of people want to say is crooked bondsmen and judges and stuff like that. And I could tell you that if I and a group of bondsmen in the city of New Orleans offered to take our entire criminal justice committee on a vacation and spent a whole bunch of money on them and came out with an agreement that they would let me operate the jail's release system, I would probably be meeting the attorney general or the U.S. attorney and spending some time in a jail.
Hold on. Back up here a second. What did you just say about taking somebody on a vacation?
I'm going to read to you. This is a paragraph from Vera's website. In 2007, at the request of the New Orleans City Council, Vera proposed several initiatives to make the criminal justice system more fair. The Institute then helped facilitate a groundbreaking retreat of the city's criminal justice leaders, an event that led to the formation of the Criminal Justice Leadership Alliance and a statement of commitment to specific reforms. These people are supported by a group called the Open Society Foundation. I'm not sure if your listeners are familiar with that organization or not. They claim on their website to be nonpartisan, but this is a George Soros Foundation that's providing some of their funding. There is no real reasoning behind what's happening in the city of New Orleans. But in the end, there's history across the country of collapsed criminal justice systems when you start to bring in the idea that a defendant who's committed a crime is in jail and is a victim, and we should feel sorry for him and worry about whether or not he loses his job. They claim that people get held in jail unfairly because they're poor.
All right, this retreat, where was it? Hawaii?
I don't know. They leave that part out.
Sure they do. All right, last question for you. I understand when Philadelphia years ago went to a pretrial service method like they're doing in New Orleans. What happened to crime and criminals in Philly?
Well, you know, it's interesting because back in 1969, the bail industry wasn't regulated hardly anywhere in the country, and Philly had a problem. They had $1 million owed. They had 1969, 4,324 wanted fugitives. The community thought that was too many people and the bondsmen weren't doing their job. So they went to this pretrial stuff. As of 2009, they now have 47,000 wanted fugitives and over $1 billion owed in unpaid forfeitures. And they've come back after 43 years to commercial bail. Pretrial doesn't work. Pretrial can't work. We're not a social justice program. Our job is to make sure that a person appears in court. Vera's job is just to make a person appear a victim and be released for free. Denny, the truth is, pretrial release exists in every jail in the country and always will and always has. People that are low-level criminals, people that get caught in the system of justice, they find their way out of jail pretty quick. We, the bail bondsmen, deal with people that won't get released for free because they shouldn't be. Vera isn't asking to release me and you or people like us. They're asking to release Akeem Scott and the Judge Marullo carjackers. And this is not a place for some nonprofit that the leadership makes six-figure payrolls. The top three each make more than our mayor, more than our police chief, more than our fire chief, and they're a nonprofit.
It's a joke. That is a joke. Matt Dennis, owner of Steve's Bail Bonds. Great information, Matt. Thank you, and we're going to have you on the show down the road. Stay on top of this for us, will you?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Boy, that was some great information, wasn't it? From the bail bondsman, Matt Dennis. That was good stuff. The Vera Institute. Yeah, isn't that something? They're lobbyists, just like what I said. They're lobbyists. And when they had this retreat, they gather all the politicians, all their people, and the retreat, I understand, it wasn't Hawaii. It was Florida. So they wine and they dine these people to compromise, and people are getting out on low bonds. And what's happening? Well, they're shooting up Mother's Day parades, second lines. They're carjacking judges and who knows what else. Because like he said, you can't get the information. And they're trying to pass a law right now in the state legislature that no one can get their information. Let me tell you something. That's evil. That is just wicked. And that's what's going on in the nation right now. We are seeing so much wicked. Just like we saw the terrorists, maniacs in England. Were you just not horrified when you saw that video of this killer with his hands all bloody, with the meat cleaver in his hand? He just tried to behead an English soldier. There is some kind of evil and some kind of wicked going on in the world. All right, Monday on the show, we won't be on because we'll be celebrating Memorial Day by sleeping in and thanking God for the men and women that fought for our country, that allows us to be on the radio every day. The Fisher House Foundation radio show will be playing in our place on Monday, and it honors the military and their families this Memorial Day. A Grateful Nation is what this radio special's called. Tells powerful stories of wounded warriors, fallen heroes, and their loved ones. It'll be emotional. So if you're up early on Memorial Day, maybe you're getting ready to go to a parade or